Hey, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakadash. It's your brother Elder Bishop Python back at you with another video. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there. Now, I just did this video about a minute ago and I stopped it because I was looking for the name of something in my phone. I just had it yesterday. I couldn't find it for anything. So, I said, you know what, let me stop the video and just re-record when I find it because I wanted to get the name of this. And I found it as soon as I should just pause the recording or something. But yeah, Slakia. So it's March 12th. Tomorrow, March 13th, that evening, is the Lord's Passover. And this is a time of year where things are you should be in a very solemn, serious spirit. The world is usually around this time in festive spirit because, springtime, things again are warming up. But you got a lot of Israelites mainly that are in a wrong spirit, and they regard this time of year or this feast, this Passover, this solemn assembly, they regard it as a feast day, a party, and to have a good time. And that's not what it is. The Passover represents the deliverance out of Egypt, and deliverance out of Egypt wasn't festive. It wasn't great. Even the Exodus, even after we got out of Egypt, it wasn't good times. It wasn't partying. It wasn't festive, right? It was hell. And then the night evening of the Passover is when Yahushua was crucified. He was crucified on the Passover day. And there's nothing to celebrate about that, nothing to be happy about. And then in this modern day Passover, or this modern day Exodus, should I say, which is going to be the new Passover, is going to be different than the Passover Egypt, because this time the Most High is not going to deliver all of Israel. He's going to destroy the majority of Israelites. They're going to be destroyed in this Passover, and only elect are going to make it. In the churches, they like to read Psalms 91 all the time, but they don't realize that it is only referring to a small number of men known as the elect. Now on the screen here is from the Apostle Tahar's channel, and this is a response to a video the brother you see on the screen with the glasses. He's from GMS Philly, GMS Plain Tables. Excuse me. And he had a dream of a lot of scriptures, but basically the first one that came in my mind was Ezekiel the 9th chapter, where the angels were slaying those who did not have the mark. And what he saw in the dream were Israelites, brothers in the Israelite community, heads, leaders, so-called regular members. And the angels were taking them out, so to speak. And with a sword, just hacking them to pieces, according to his dream. But the sword didn't come near. Well, he said it didn't come near the elect, like they were in the midst of it, but it didn't come near them. They were free from the danger because the angels read the mark on them, and so the angels skipped them. So just with everything going on with that, I got a couple other things maybe to spare have me talk about. I don't have a real topic. I just wanted to record. But this scripture is what has been Spirit put in my mind today. And this is Ezekiel 21:9. And it says, Son of man, prophesy and say. And yes, we're supposed to be in a spirit of prophecy. We're in highly prophetic times right now. So the main things you should be speaking about are the prophecies, because they are coming to pass quickly. And by the way, tomorrow is was it a blood moon? Tomorrow's a blood moon.
Biblical bond.
Oops. Yeah, blood moon on a Passover night. Terrifying vision of judgment upon these different, I think it says Israelite camps. And it's basically pursuant to the dream this brother had, which is
For a fact was because
you can watch it here on Apostle Tahar's channel. Bishop Benadizah just did a response to it. It's here. It's right here on the bottom right. You know, and so let's read the scripture. It says, Ezekiel 21:9, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus say the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, say, a sword is sharpened, and it is also furbished. So the word furbished means this. Furbished. Furbished means to make lustrous, to polish. Let's look up the etymology. Maybe you get some more meat out of it. Eddie. Furbish. Furbish, to rub or scour to brightness, figuratively, to clear from taint or stain, renew the glory or brightness of, to renovate. So in other words, the Lord has sharpened his sword, polished it up. When someone sharpens and watch a war movie. Before the soldiers go to war, they're polishing their sword, they're polishing it, they're making it bright, they're getting the edge nice and sharp, because they're ready to do some damage. So the Lord is ready to swing that sword, and he wants it nice and sharp. And the sword goes into all sorts of things. It goes into Esau, his military, the pestilences, the time of Jacob's trouble, Egyptians against Egyptians, civil war, famines, droughts. That's all part of the sword. The Lord's going to lay it on heavy, and it's going to be sharp. Meaning he's going to take out a lot of Israelites. In the brother's dream, he saw basically all the heads of Israel, the heads, regular members, leaders. And he said it was basically like all the camps, and the angel was just running through them. Verse 10 says, the sword, it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. Let's look up the word sore. A sore slaughter, painful, grievous, aching, sad, wounding. And this is the time that we're in. But see, the majority of Israelites out there, a lot of them, they're in the wrong mindset. They're partying. They're in the mindset of mirth, when the Lord is very clearly, this is a time of judgment. Even Ecclesiastes 3 tells you about there's different seasons. Time to cry, time to laugh, time to be joyous, time to mirth. And it's like a lot of Israelites don't have a clue. They don't know how to read the signs. It's like the spirit ain't clicking with them like that. We're clearly in a time of judgment, especially during the Passover, which is a very serious, solemn assembly where a lot of judgments come to pass. Verse 10 says, it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Ultimately, that sword, that furbished to glitter, is talking about the nuclear missiles. My glittering sword, it's talking about the missiles, ultimately. Should we then make mirth? What mindset are you supposed to be in? Are you supposed to be in the mindset of mirth? No. It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree. And he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished, to give it into the hand of the slayer. So the Most High is about to send judgments out. And again, a lot of Israelites, they're in entirely the wrong mindset. Now, I was thinking to myself, right? I was thinking to myself, the spirit is working with us, and we are in the spirit of um, being solemn and being serious minded. I had to ask myself, why are these other kids? Why are they in the spirit of feasting and joy? You know, because everything history always repeats itself. So that means these different Israelites, who knew they were Israel, who knew the law, who knew about the high holy days. This means on this particular evening or on this particular day, in the past, they were doing the same thing instead of being sad. Because remember, Yahushua was crucified that day. So how did it turn into a day of mirth and a day where people take it to party and have contests and rap and have like uh, garment contests, who got the best garment, and you bring in your girl and your kids, and it's like Easter Sunday type of thing. How did it turn into that? And then so I thought about Yahushua and Barabbas, and I thought about it, because you really do have to like put yourself back in history when you think about these certain events. When you read about it, you got to visualize so you can feel it, and it kind of brings more depth to the scripture. So I was thinking about it, and I said, the day that Yahushua was crucified, and they let Barabbas go. When they let him go, they had to be happy, like joyous, like they let him go, and they had to be like, yeah, like happy, and probably were throwing a party. And I said, these got to be like the same dudes, because you got to choose on the Passover. You got to choose one side. Either you're sad and you know, you're sad and and you have a solemn mind and a serious mind, or you're on the other side where you're happy and it's just like a regular day. You're happy and it's a party to you. So the men that were following Yahushua, and on that day when he was crucified, they were truly sad. That's the same mindset they're going to be in today, you know? And I was thinking those men that turned this thing into a party, they had to be, they might have been, they had to be doing the same thing back then, you know? Because in a spirit, they wouldn't feel right partying on that day. They would feel sad. They would feel like something bad or terrible happened on that day, which it did. Yahushua was crucified. So, there's a custom. Let me see if I can bring it up. It's a custom of the Jews on the Passover, where they would release a prisoner on a Passover, and it was a festival to worship Marduk, which Marduk, by the way, is an Egyptian deity which requires child sacrifice. And so they would worship this deity, and according to the tradition, they would let a prisoner go, and it was in honor of the deity. So let me see if I can find it. It was called the Zag Muck Festival. All right, let's see what we got here. Any evidence of Babylon Winter Festival, Zagmuk. So let me look at this. And I was reading about Pontius Pilate. Now the spirit was working, on that day when he sentenced Yahushua to be crucified, because when you read the history about Pontius Pilate, he had no problem putting putting a Jew to death. He had no problem doing it. It was like it was entertainment. So for him to pretty much go against the crowd, he initially he expressed that, look, I don't find fault in this man. And remember, his wife also had a dream that Yahushua was an innocent man. But normally, from what I was reading, he wouldn't really give two shits about putting a Jew, Israelite, to death. But for Yahushua, he tried to plead a little bit for him. But them wicked ass ninjas, wicked ass Jews, they wanted Yahushua crucified. Why? Because he called out their deeds. He called out their deeds. And another thing about Pontius Pilate, there was an incident to where what he used to do is he would force the Jews, because of the Jews who followed Yahushua and who followed the Most High, Yahweh, and stuck to their tradition very strongly. He would force Jews to bow down, or Israelites to bow down to image of Caesar. And if they didn't, he would put them to death, and that was a common thing that he would do. So for Yahushua to exclaim that he's a king, the king of the Jews, and for him, the way he was talking, or he was speaking to Pontius Pilate, I did a video, I think it was a prior video I did, but I was going into how Yahushua was talking to Pontius Pilate like he wasn't shit. Because Pontius Pilate ain't shit. He didn't have any authority. The only authority he had was the authority that the Most High gave him. A prophecy had to go through, which was Yahushua to be crucified. That was prophetic. Otherwise, who the fuck is Pontius Pilate? You ain't shit. But Yahushua talked to him like that. Yahushua spoke to him like a king. He didn't even answer him. And Pontius Pilate was like, do you know who I am? I could put you to death right now. Yahushua said, only power you have is the power my Father gave you, chump. So that just adds even more this was all just the whole thing, how it went down was through the Spirit. Because Pontius Pilate, even still, when Yahushua did not even acknowledge him, Pontius Pilate, for who he was, which Pontius Pilate was known for putting Israelites to death for not bowing down to Caesar. He still said like, yo, I don't find any fault in this man. But anyway, let's read. It says the Zagmuk festival, also known as the Babylonian New Year festival, Akitu, is an ancient Mesopotamian celebration not directly related to Yahushua or the Christian holiday of Christmas. But this is the tradition that we're following. Let me find it. Let me go more direct, because they beating around the bush. So Zagmug, right, which literally means beginning of the year, is an ancient Mesopotamian festival celebrating the new year. The feast fell in March or April, right? So this was during the Passover. Okay, so so this go back to here, like I said earlier, is to worship Murdoch. Now let me do some searching here. The history, I believe, of the account is in of the festival of Murdoch during the Passover and Yahushua's crucifixion. I believe is very detailed in the Josephus. What is it? What do they say here? Why did they? They didn't like that Yahushua's message didn't involve destroying the Romans. Damn. Bishop's Encyclopedia. The story, henceforth, Barabbas episode, Barabbas episode. I don't know what the hell that means. Is mentioned in all four Gospels. I guess that's what the Christians call that event or something, Barabbas episode. And John 18:40, perhaps let us consider Mark's version since it is the earliest gospel. Now it was a custom of the festival to release a prisoner whom the people requested, and that's the festival of Zagmuk. A man called Barabbas was in prison with the insurrectionists who had committed murder in an uprising. Now, some information came out that Barabbas was actually a member, most probably a member of the Sicarii. Barabbas was a terrorist. You had the Zealots. Okay, Sicario or literal terrorists that would practice stealth assassinations with their Sicarii or short-bladed daggers. And yeah, they would basically commit. They would assassinate like Roman officials, and they will also assassinate Uncle Toms or those that sold out, Jakes that sold out to the Romans. You know, they would assassinate them. Actually, you have a game, a video game based off of this, which is called Assassin's Creed. And I believe the main character, is a Sicarii, and he walks around with a blade, with a dagger. It says with the Sicarii or short-bladed daggers, and then blend back into the crowd. So they would off somebody, they would create a distraction or a decoy. You know, they would shank somebody up, and then they would disappear into the crowd, and nobody knew who it was. They practiced this not only against Romans, but against the Jewish collaborators, sellouts. What has this to do with the Barabbas? Well, the Gospels have that Barabbas was an unsavory character. Matthew refers to him as a notorious prisoner. Matthew 27:16, Mark 15:17, and Luke 23:19 say that he took part in a riot and committed murder. John 18:40 calls Barabbas a bandit, using the Greek word lestes that the Jewish historian Josephus later used to refer to the rebels. Yep, I mentioned Josephus. Some historians say that the Sicarii were active in the run up to the Jewish revolt of the 60s, not during the 30s. Okay, so now I'm looking for, hold on a second, because I got it in my phone. I'm looking for the information about Barabbas being a member of Sicarii. Okay, let's try this. Clearly, Barabbas was no mere robber. Let's try that. New World Encyclopedia. Son. Okay. Barabbas had been charged with the crime of treason against Rome, the same crime for which Yahushua was also convicted. But Yahushua was an innocent man. But to the Romans, he was a threat because he threatened Roman rulership. You know, the disciples even asked him, will you at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? To restore the kingdom to Israel means that would have meant that the Roman kingdom would have to go down, right? So the same crime which Yahushua was also convicted. The penalty was death by crucifixion. However, according to Christian sources, there was a prevailing Passover custom in Jerusalem that allowed a required pilot to commute one prisoner's death sentence by popular acclaim. The crowd was offered a choice of whether to have Barabbas or Yahushua released, and that is the Passover, which is the feast of Zagma, the feast of Zagma, which we read earlier. Okay. So the more divergent accounts in John, the crowd chose Barabbas to be released and Yahushua to be crucified. And even in the scriptures, they said, "Let his blood be upon us and our children." And this is why this sword is sharpened against them, right? That we read in Ezekiel 21. All right, so let's go. Slacky. Let's get to the main point. Okay. Clearly, Barabbas was no mere robber, but was probably a leader of a group that had acted violently against Roman authority. Some scholars posit that he was a member of the Zealots or of the Sicarii, daggermen, militant Jews that sought to overthrow the Roman occupiers of their land by force. See? So this tradition they had, right? Or that feast, it was a feast, a festival. Now, let's see what Festival of Zagma. Festival of Zagma. If I'm spelling it wrong. Festival of Zagma. Okay, hold on. Slack it. Give me 1 second. Slack it. Zagmuk. Okay, let's see. Yep, the ancient Mesopotamian festival of Zagmuk was a 12-day New Year celebration, also known as Akitu, that took place around the vernal equinox, marking the beginning of Mesopotamia year and celebrating the triumph of Marduk over chaos. Yep. So what they did is they took the Passover and they changed it into something different. They changed it into a pagan holiday. So no longer was it, it wasn't about mirth. It was about celebrating and partying. Just reading it right here. It's a 12-day New Year's celebration. Celebrating the New Year and the triumph of Marduk. So they had the mock king. Often a criminal was chosen and dressed in royal clothes. So that's what they did to Yahushua. He was a mock king. Remember, they dressed him up. Let me see if I can find it. Let's read a little bit of it. Matthew 26. Okay. Get rid of these. Yeah, see that. So, excuse me, verse 14 in Matthew 15. It says, Then Pilate said unto them, Why? What evil has he done? And they cried out with the more exceedingly, Crucify him. And so Pilate, willing to content the people, released Barabbas unto them, and delivered Yahushua, when he had scourged him, to be crucified. And the soldiers led him away into the hall called Praetorium, and they called together the whole band. Let me look this up. In ancient Rome, a praetorium was originally the tent of a general in military camp, but later also referred to the residence of a Roman governor or military commander, and a content of the Gospels was the judgment hall of Roman procurator like Pontius Pilate. So they led him away into the hall called Praetorium. I wonder what it means. Does it have a name? I mean, does it have a meaning? The term praetorium is derived from the title praetor, which identified a Roman magistrate. Okay, so yeah, judgment hall. Okay. And the soldiers led him away into the hall called Praetorium, and they called together the whole band. So they got all the soldiers together. And they clothed him with purple and plaited a crown of thorns and put it about his head. And began to salute him, Hail, King of the Jews! And they smote him on the head with a reed, and did spit upon him, and bowing their knees worship him. And when they had mocked him, they took off the purple from him, and put his own clothes on him, and led him out to crucify him. Okay? So that's this festival. A mock king, often a criminal, was chosen, right, which was Yahushua, which he was innocent, just like Pontius Pilate said, what evil had he done? Often a criminal was chosen and dressed in royal clothes. And at the end of the celebration, he was stripped of the royal clothes and killed. That's exactly what they did to Yahushua. All right? Symbolizing the end of old year and the beginning of new. Temple of Marduk. The Mesopotamian king would return to the temple of Marduk and swear his faithfulness to the god. Okay? So, you know, this is like everything about the festival, but basically, that, you know, basically on the Passover day, you know, you should be in a spirit of a solemn spirit. And so, you know, this led me to think that maybe, you know, them Israelites who know they're Israelites, you know the laws, know the Passover, but choose to turn it into something festive and a day to party. I'm thinking this is the lot that they're in, that they were one of them. You know, because you're going to be one or the other. You're either going to be solemn and you're going to be how we celebrate it, where we regard it as a solemn day and a day of judgment, or you're going to turn it into a feast day, a day where you party. Just like these wicked Jews did back in the day. You know? So I had another point I want to bring out, but I think I'm going to save it for another video. Yeah, because Spirit just telling me to end this right here. And Lord's will, I'll do another video on another thought that I have. You know, basically, you know what, I'll just say real quick is that, you know, one thing that this situation showed me in the spirit from this, you know, this Sakari situation is that, man, when the Lord brings his judgment and he brings the hell and he brings Jacob's trouble, and when he starts the persecution, you could already see that these other camps, they just going to crumble and fall apart. Because with this situation right here, this little situation here with that happened with Alazar, you see how this house is Sakari. You know, first of all, the some of the top men broke up with them. Now they got their own thing, Genesis, right? But when this came out initially about Alazar, man, they were ready to shoot him down. They had receipts, you know. Alazar had receipts. They had receipts, and they even said that they were ready. That if Alazar wanted to get on some Nino Brown shit, they had receipts to you know to mow him down. Alazar had receipts. Then you had the other guy, what's his name, Ariala. You know, Ariala had receipts and made a video about Alazar. Alazar pulled out some shit about him, and they was all just going for each other's necks. And I said, damn, when the persecution comes, these Israelite camps, I mean, really think about it. Are you gonna put your trust in somebody who could potentially sleep with your wife, right? You know, see these other Israelite camps, they want to wave the right flag and say, we forgive and it's all right, just let it be, you know, don't be in a man's business and all that, you know. But again, Malachi 3:1 says, the heads of Israel, is it not for you to know judgment? Like, these guys have no, the law is definitely slack. These guys they have a reprobate spirit. And they can't discern when the Most High is passing judgment on somebody. The Most High did that. And you got to flow with the Most High, man. You got to flow with the Spirit. And you also got to know when it's time to pronounce judgment. You know, if it's clear that the Most High is pronouncing judgment on somebody, why would you go against it? Only if you're blind and you don't know what the F is going on. These guys clearly don't know what the F is going on. But my point is, you know, these guys are all full of shit anyway. Because when shit hits the fan, and we've seen it with this situation, you know, ain't nobody from these other camps talking about, you know, well, you should forgive and forget. You're not going to let your wife be around these dudes because they practice sleeping with other men's wives. And the way these dudes were throwing throwing each other under the bus, do you really think when some hell and some persecution comes, you would be able to put your trust in any one of these guys? Really? Man, they'll give you up for a fucking nickel. All right? They'll give you up for a nickel. You know? So that's why the Most High said, trust not in a guide. You know, you got to trust in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. But he also said, put hands suddenly on no man. And this is why we what do you call that? What's the word? Damn. I can't think of the word, but the scriptures say, lay hands suddenly on no man, meaning you don't just pull somebody in. You gotta scout them out. There's a word I'm looking for, which I can't, the word's not coming to me right now. But in other words, man, just Yahweh Shai talk about the good fruit, and John the Baptist said, bring henceforth fruits meet for repentance. You know? So this is why you don't just let anybody in the camp. This is why you just can't just wave the right flag for anything everybody does. There's certain shit people do where you can't have them around, and there's certain judgment that needs to go forth, because otherwise you're gonna build up a fucking house full of wickedness, and the Most High is gonna tear the whole entire house down. There's a whole parable about the foundation. Your foundation is not laid upon Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. Is going to crumble. And a house that's built with a bunch of niggas, adulterers, you know, homos, backbiters, pillow biters, and all that shit, that's a house that's going to crumble. And when shit hits the fan, matter of fact, let me see if I got some scriptures. Let me bring maybe one or two, because I got a whole list. I got a whole list of scriptures. I was going to just do one video on this, and I got a fucking list of scriptures here. Let me find a good one. Let me see what Jeremiah 9. I got Jeremiah 9 here. Jeremiah 9 and foe. It says, take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother. For every brother will utterly supplant, scheming on your girl, scheming on your position. One of the things that Al-Azhar said before he stepped down, he said, y'all want this spot? Y'all got it. Y'all want this spot so bad? Y'all got it. So you got dudes scheming on your position, you know. But I believe that's why the Most High did what he did to Al-Azhar the way he did is because one of Al-Azhar's motive was to supplant the position of the elders. You know, he wanted to have a bigger name than the elders. So he said, you know what, F what they got to say. I'm going to do this my way. And the scriptures talk about a sheep that climbeth up the other way. Right? Which is what he did. Because he went against basically everything that we told him not to do, including those debates. The debates is what really fucked him up, you know, because that led him down a road of debating for money, getting fame. You know, he got a little bit of taste because he, after that first debate, and you know, he got a lot of views and people knew his name. You know, that was like that's hard to turn away from, I guess. You know. Hey, we had Hollywood producers roll up on us and ask us to be in movies. Do you think I'm lying? You think I'm lying? Ask any of the bishops or any of the apostles. We had movie producers, and I know because the movie producer rolled up on me and Bishop Inav's camp, you know. And he talked to me and he talked to him as well. And he was a producer, the guy that did a Terminator. And he rolled up on us on Delancey Street while I was teaching, prophesying. And he asked us if we could be in a movie. Right? Tell me I'm fucking lying. Okay? And we said, nah. You know, and then we told Apostle Tahar and he said the same. He said, nah. Right? There were times when what's his name, Sanetta, approached, wanted us to debate. You know, Apostle Tahar said no. I mean, there were plenty of times, man. Because we're not out here for no fame. We're not out here for glory. We out here to bring fame to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai's name. I'm gonna say this again. I said this a few times before. I'm gonna keep saying this shit. Is that the reason the world knows the names of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, I believe through the Spirit, is through GMS, because we pushed that name so effing hard and made it such a debate. People have called it a doctrine, whatever. And so the names of Yahweh and the names of Yahweh Shai are out there because of Great Millstone. If anybody disagrees, leave it in a comment. If you disagree with what I'm saying, put it in the comments. All right? Yeah, so we're all about glorifying the names of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And whatever comes out of that for us comes out of it, man. You know? We just want to push the truth and push the names of the Lord and so he got his due respect, man. But that's okay. I mean, the Most High don't need us to do it. You know, the Most High granted us, you know, bestowed, the honor upon his men to do it. You know, but we read Ezekiel. Ezekiel, right? And the Lord said he's going to make that sword brand new. So the Lord's going to let it be known. That's what Zechariah 14:9 is all about, right? The Lord's going to make it known. There's going to be no question about it that he is Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai when it reappears. Trust me, when Yahweh Shai appears, no one's going to be calling upon Jesus Christ, all right? All you Israelites out there that want to say Most High in Christ or Christ, God, trust me, in that day when Yahweh Shai appears, you're going to say Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, you know, have mercy on me, forgive me, you know, whatever. Those names are going to instantly come back. And you're going to be very ashamed, man, in that day if you're still teaching Most High, Christ, you know. In other words, refusing to push the names of Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. So it says in Jeremiah 9, take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother, for every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders. Have we not experienced that? Verse 5, and they will deceive every one his neighbor, and will not speak the truth. And the word I was looking for was vet. You got to vet out your brothers, you know, to know that these are good brothers that from the body of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh, that you could put your trust in. And hey, here at all of us here, we've been battle tested, we've been through shit, and we've been through shit, and court systems and all that shit, and Spirit has been with us, and we all have looked out for each other. Like we've been through stuff. A lot of these camps haven't been through anything. And as soon as some little bit of heat comes, they all turn on each other. But what do you expect from a group that calls themselves after dudes that stab somebody up and then hide in a crowd and make it look like somebody else did the shit? Like, why would you trust? That's basically a den of thieves. Make no sense, man. How do you expect something like that to last? Come on, man. It's common sense. So verse 5, and they will deceive everyone his neighbor, and will not speak the truth. They have taught their tongue to speak lies, and weary themselves to commit iniquity. Verse 6, thine habitation is in the midst of deceit. Through deceit they refuse to know me, saith the Lord. Verse 7, therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will melt them and try them, for how shall I do for the daughter of my people? So the Lord's going to melt them and try them. And this is a time we're coming in right now, the time of judgment, so that's what the mind state that you should be on for the Passover is a serious mind state, a solemn mind state. You should be praying to the Lord, and getting yourself in order, because part of the Passover is a feast of unleavened bread where you throw all the leaven out your house, meaning you get your shit in order, you get your shit together, spiritually. So anyway, I hope this was edifying. And I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakudash, Shalom.